Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new series on the channel. Today is the first of 46 episodes for the 23-24 campaign. It's not really a match review. It's a little bit something like George Benson's series that he does after every Chelsea match. I'll leave a link to his channel down in the description down below because that's basically where I've got this idea from. We're going to go through 6 things that have happened during yesterday's 1-0 defeat against Crawley Town and talk about whether they were good, bad, or in the middle. A green box means they were very good. A yellow box means some good, some bad, and a red box means very bad. It can be a player, it could be the fans, the referee, the management, the tactics. It could be a range of different things. And for a large percentage of these, we will be joined by a guest. It might be the same guest. You have to wait and see in a moment. If you do go on to enjoy, please make sure to drop a like on there for me. If you could try and get 70 likes on today's video, that'd be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you're new as well. We are on the road to 8,000 subscribers, so please make sure you are subscribed if you haven't already with that post notification bell on. It's free to do so and it does massively help out. Drop a comment in as well down in the comment section down below. Let me know who was your man of the match for yesterday's game, any thoughts on it and all that sort of stuff. If you've not already checked out my match day vlog from yesterday's game, then make sure to go do so. Let's waste no further time and get straight into it. So I do now have the pleasure or displeasure of being joined by my co-host for this series. You've seen him on the channel a couple times before and the comments seem to absolutely love him, so he's back for this series. We're going to be discussing, like what I say, through 6 different topics, and Frank will give his opinion on it, I'll give my opinion on it, then we'll end the video with just some overall thoughts. And this will just be specifically for league games, so you get 46 this season, any cup games and all that sort of stuff. We probably won't really have the time to do like an in-depth match review and all that sort of stuff, but there was very few positive yesterday. We are going to start out though with a positive, and that was Clark Adoa. I thought in pre-season, he didn't really show too much, to be honest with you. Now, obviously, he played in a number of positions, played left wing back, played as a number 10, played in a couple of different positions, and he put in a brilliant ball for our second goal against Middlesbrough at home, and that was all he really did in pre-season. He was getting a lot of praise from some fans, and I didn't really see it. Against Crawley, though, I think that's the best performance that I've seen from him so far. I think he was comfortably man of the match, consistent in both the first half and the second half, was picking up the ball, looking to take players on, looks really pacey, skillful, silky on the ball. And that's not really something we've had over the last couple of seasons, and I think he's got to play in that 10 position. Now we can see why he wants to play there rather than at left wing back, because I think if you play him at left wing back, you maybe reduce how good he is going forward.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think obviously he was kind of brought in as a left wing back initially when we first saw him announced. He seemed like he was going to be playing left wing back, and then obviously he said in like the interview that he wanted to play more attacking. And I think in the Crawley game, if I'm not mistaken, he looked like he played in a number 10 role. Which was obviously, we are lacking on numbers in the left wing back. So, some of us thought he might be playing there, but he started off as an attacking midfielder, and I was actually really impressed with what I saw. I think, like you said, that game at Middlesbrough was kind of the best thing we saw of him. I think the game against Bury was pretty concerning, actually. He didn't really light up the game at all, to be honest. He was pretty poor, one of the worst players on the pitch, in my opinion. But, yeah, Crawley was fantastic. I think, obviously, he showed defensive attributes as well. I think there was an instance where Crawley Town were throwing goal 2 and one looked nailed on to score. And he was the only one that was tracking back. Defence was nowhere to be seen. Obviously, a poor pass forced a mistake, and he did really well to get rid of it. But, yeah, showed some attacking brilliance as well. Probably, one of the bright sparks out of a poor team yesterday at Crawley.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I thought he was pretty impressive, in my opinion. Certainly the man of the match for me, in my opinion. I mean, I'd like there to be more green boxes, but I can't really think of any more. I think a red box for me has got to be Mark Hughes. The team selection, the tactics, I mean, that defensively, that back 3 was so poor. I tweeted before the game about my concerns, and every single one of my concerns happened in the game. Ash Taylor getting the start was ludicrous. I'm sure we'll touch on him in a minute. Rideout at left wing back doesn't offer enough going forward, and he's pretty poor defensively. Kelly still a little bit raw, a little bit rash for me, in my opinion. I know you go okay in the back 3. I thought was absolutely stupid. Obviously, he got sent off. He got the red card. The first one was never a yellow card. It wasn't even a foul, in my opinion. And the second one, he's got to be more game aware because the referee will get on to him as well in a moment. But the back 3 for me was just so concerning. I think obviously Stubbs was injured, but having Platt on the bench or Cena not in the squad, when for me and I would say a number of other Bradford fans, they've got to be in our starting 11. I could maybe understand Kelly over Cena for a bit of height, physicality away from home, but not having Platt in there was an absolutely crazy decision, in my opinion. And I'm not a big fan of playing Patterson in the double pivot with Richie Smallwood. I think you really reduce what he can offer. It's like playing Patterson with a handbrake on, really. I think think he's much better going forward. But so far, he's not done enough to displace either Walker or Ador. So I do understand from that point of view, but his team selection for me, it was all over the place. And I think a lot of people saw it coming, which was the concern, to be honest.
I think the way we've gone about this window is we've brought in a lot of defenders, which means there's not really room to get rid of any. I think Stubbs is obviously, when he comes back for that injury, is pretty much a nailed-on starter. But you got people like Ash Taylor, Kieran Kelly, and other players like that. We brought in a lot of defenders, so you can't really move any of them out. And obviously, a lot of them are wanting first-team football. So who do you bring in? Ash Taylor. I mean, goodness me, I think the game against Rochdale was very telling as to how it was going to play out. I think we all see it as fans. Now, I know we always don't get it 100% every time. But if every single fan's seeing it, how is Mark Hughes and the coaching staff not seeing it? It's baffling. We haven't got UEFA badges like Mark Hughes. We are not first-team coaches. But for every single fan, bar maybe one, to think that Ash Taylor was not good enough, it baffles me. If he starts next game, doesn't matter if it's the Pizza Cup, the Xbox Cup, whatever cup, if he manages to get a start next game, it's absolutely ludicrous. And the only thing I disagree with is the Rydalge. I think I don't want him anywhere in the team, to be honest, but he was very limited for the options. That is Mark Hughes' fault. That is the coaching staff's fault. That is Stephen Gent's fault for not finding the right recruitment. He didn't have any options, to be fair to him, but why has this not been addressed sooner? We know Liam Rydalge does not offer any attacking support to us. Playing him as a left wing back is completely baffling to me. Ash Taylor is the reason Oyegoke got sent off. The first yellow card, obviously not a foul, and then obviously we're going to touch on the referee later, but it does change the game. Oyegoke being sent off, the free kick, it all played a part. I think that red card knocked the stuffing out of us in the end. And obviously Platt was kind of another one of the bright sparks that when he seemed to calm the play down, we looked like we were kind of gunning for it in the end, but we left it too little too late. And I think obviously we've got to sort it out defensively next game, otherwise we could be in trouble.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And you've touched on Ash Taylor there. I think, again, he's got to get a red box for me. He was just, I mean, we all expected it. We all saw it coming. We were warned by Walsall and Northampton fans. And you look at some of the clips they were showing, and I could really understand now, looking back on it, why I tried to defend it at the time. But looking back on it, he just, I'm baffled as to how he actually has made it as a professional footballer, because even in the air, he jumps and then he gets smaller. And I don't just want to single out one player, and I know he's a new signing and I want to give someone time, but I think we've seen enough now in pre-season and that game against Crawley to show he's completely miles off the pace. And he came off in the match with an Achilles injury, which I don't really think that was necessarily accurate, to be honest. I think Mark Hughes is just protecting his players, which he always does seem to do. But Ash Taylor had an absolute nightmare. And it wasn't just him. Defensively, there were some really, really poor players. But like what we see for Oyegoke's second yellow, small passes him the ball. It's probably not the pass everyone would like to see, but it's not a bad pass, to be honest with you. And then he tries to do like a body feint and just forgets the ball. And then because it takes him 20 minutes to turn around, he can't catch up. Oyegoke has to come over. And it's a little bit soft, but it probably is a second yellow card, especially with the way the referee was handing them out in that game. But Taylor, his positioning was poor. His communication was pretty lackluster. I mean, this long throw that he's got barely even beats the first man. And then when the ball comes back out to him, he tries to put a cross into the box. He nearly goes out over the stand and out for a goal kick. It just wasn't a good professional competitive debut for him. And I'm really concerned if he is going to be in our starting 11 going forward, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Kwame touched on it on the radio as well. The Achilles injury, I mean, if it is true, then fair enough. But like Kwame said on the radio, it just kind of shows that you bottled it. Like, I know, if he has an injury, then fair enough. But surely after that game you want to stay and you battle through it and you try and turn the fans' opinion around. Obviously, it's probably best for the club that we brought him off. But why not use that injury and that critics that you've got as motivation to go ahead and just give it your all? Because he just didn't show anything in that game. I think, the cross, I saw it in your vlog, it was absolutely laughable. I mean, I don't even know what he's trying to do there. But yeah, absolutely shocking from Ash Taylor, to be honest. Yeah, like I said with the Oyegoke situation, I think there's not a lot he could do. I don't know why someone of his size is trying to body feint, especially in that position as well. It's just, who do you blame for this situation in offence? I feel like I saw a tweet yesterday saying that Mark Hughes was looking to add to the core of the squad, and it seems like we upgraded the forward position and we've decreased in offence, and a lot of the positions that didn't need changing were changed. I think the midfield is probably the only bit where we've kind of improved in a sense. think their recruitment's been really poor this summer, in my opinion.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I've exactly been overly impressed with the recruitment. And just one last thing on Ash Taylor, though. Last season, we saw that after a shocking first half performance from Timmy Odesina, where he actually wasn't even that bad, to be honest, against Stockport. He got subbed off at half time. Why did Hughes not then do the same thing with Ash Taylor? Is that because of the age? Is that because this seems to be some sort of a Mark Hughes signing? Now, whoever's been part of the recruitment, any sort of process to get Ash Taylor in through the door, they seriously questioning at their job, because genuinely Ash Taylor wouldn't start for an average Sunday League team. He doesn't offer anything defensively. If you think that is what the sort of strikers that Crawley are able to do to him, then what on earth is he going to do when he comes up against a Paul Mullin, Macaulay Langstaff, David McGoldrick? Like, for me personally, just absolutely miles off it. Moving on then from Ash Taylor, because we could sit and talk about him all night. The referee. I mean, I know these new rules have come in and everything, but this is not what football is about. Like, there wasn't one bad tackle I could really call in the game. There was maybe the first yellow card, I think it was Kellan Gordon got for fouling Kieran Kelly, but that was second of the game on Kelly. So that was the only real bad tackle of the game. And there was 13, 14 yellow cards. Like, it just seems absolutely ludicrous. And I understand the ones for kicking the ball away, time wasting, all that sort of stuff, but some of the yellow cards it was given, like, I think I counted 4 in the end, perfectly clean tackles, and he gave them as yellow cards. And I'm not just saying this Bradford City's way. There were some stupid yellow cards he was giving to Crawley as well. And then when there was obvious yellow cards, like when I think it was Liam Kelly halted was when we were on the counter-attack, he'd already been booked. The referee didn't give him a second yellow card. It just seemed absolutely ludicrous. And he didn't really seem to know what he was doing. The liner as well, he was absolutely shocking as well. Didn't really know what he was doing with offsides. And it just seems like a massive meltdown and an absolutely shocking display from the officials. And it wasn't just in our game. I've seen so many clips from other teams' games of just stupid yellow cards. And the added time as well. How was the only 6 minutes added on at the end of the second half? There was 9 substitutions. That's at least 4.5 minutes. So is the referee then saying there was only 1 minute 30 of stoppages? Like, it just seems absolutely ludicrous. And there were numerous games where there were 10, 15, 20 minutes of added time. And it's going to end up injuring the players more and more, because you can't physically cope with that. Playing 120 minutes, 110, 120 minutes of football. It might not be to the extreme of 120, but 110 minutes, Saturday, Tuesday, that's not sustainable, especially for League Two footballers. It really is going to cause injury. But the referee yesterday was absolutely shocking.
Yeah, absolutely abysmal. I mean, me personally, I'm not one that likes to be negative about where the club's going. Obviously, I think the aim this season has to be promotion, simple as. Do I think we'll get it? No, we don't. But it's games like that. That free kick, it costs us the game. In reality, that goal, I mean, it's never a free kick in a million years. It's a completely clean tackle. Did Kelly get booked for that as well, I believe?
Yeah, he did get booked for that.
You know, there's instances where for that second tackle, he probably got another sending off. So that's down to 9 minutes, more suspensions. We don't need it. That free kick, it's gone in the back of the net. We're 1-0 down. It ends up being the only goal of the game. That's 3 points dropped. And who knows, at the end of the season, we might be in a fighting playoff chance. And maybe we miss out by 1 or 2 points. And it's that free kick that's cost us the whole thing. Do you know what I mean? It's just, you know, it baffles me, really. And this new system, if you look at it on paper, how many 14 yellow cards, 1 red card? It was not one of them games whatsoever. It was not a feisty encounter. It wasn't a derby. It was none of that. And I don't understand what this new system is. And we all saw it when the EFL tweeted about it and started making these new rules that we weren't going to follow it up, or it's just going to be a shambles and we're all right once again. It baffles me. And then another thing I wanted to touch on when I was thinking about, you know, this video last night, how many times are we going to see it this season? Andy Cook getting manhandled in the box. It is constant. Every single game, every single defender. And I know for a fact that if Andy Cook was to drop back for a corner and was doing the exact same manhandling Dom Telford, it's a penalty every single day of the week. Just because Andy Cook's one of the biggest, most physical strikers in the league, the referees must think he can take it or something. He cannot do anything when he's getting manhandled by 1, 2, sometimes even 3 players in the box. It's blatant. The linesman can't see it. The fourth official can't see it. The referee can't see it. It baffles me. When are they going to learn that it's not fair? I mean, possibly could be doing better when he is the most physical striker in the league, but he's getting dragged to the floor at half at time, and we've not seen a single penalty given for it. When are they going to learn? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think there was one instance, I think it's actually in the vlog, Halliday puts a ball in coming over from this side, and the Crawley player has got 2 hands on Andy Cook, not even looking at the ball, and he's like ragging him like this. Cook tries to head it, the referee's looking straight at it, and he goes like that and waves it away. And I understand that it's a contact sport. You have a little bit of tussling, shirt pulling, all that sort of stuff in the penalty area. But when someone's not even looking at the ball, they've got two hands physically on him, and he's pulling him down. What, like, if that's not a penalty, then what is? And then you saw away at Stevenage last year, we got a penalty for one of the most pointless things ever. Like, it was a little bit of shirt pulling, but nothing more than usual, and that was a penalty. Yet when there's a Crawley defender physically got two hands ragging on Andy Cook's shirt, not even looking at the ball, no intent for the ball, that's not even a foul. But if that was anywhere else on the pitch, it probably would be. But I like to say that, but it probably not, because every time we played long yesterday, Cook was being manhandled again. You know, arms, he's basically in a headlock at times, and the referee just waves play on. But then when Dom Telfer gets a little nudge in the back, it's a free kick. It was just absolutely shocking. The referees, we all know League Two referees for the large part are absolutely terrible, but that one yesterday, and I hope it doesn't continue. And more than likely, these new EFL rules, they don't usually last very long. They're normally in for 3 to 6 weeks, and then everyone just forgets about them, like last season. But moving on from the referee, because he just really, really did infuriate me. Someone who I did think had quite a good game was Matty Platt. Now, he had a point to prove on off the bench yesterday, because for some reason he was dropped, not in the squad. And I thought when he came on, he was one of our better players, looked pretty solid defensively, winning lots of tackles. And I think for me, he has to start against Accrington on Tuesday, whether that's due to Ash Taylor's injury or what. Obviously, how you go, okay, suspended. So I think it's highly likely that Platt will play, and obviously Stubbs out injured. But I thought he was really good, and I think he really proved to Mike Hughes where he should be starting. Obviously, there were strong rumours that he was set to sign for Stockport a couple of weeks ago now, and that doesn't look likely, which I think is a good thing. I personally really do like Matty Platt. I think he is overhated by some of our fan base, and especially when you've seen players like Ash Taylor play football, there's not a chance that Matty Platt can't be on the bench any longer for Ash Taylor, in my opinion.
Yeah, I remember him getting sent off against Mansfield. He was probably one of our best defenders up until that point. He sort of fizzled out towards the end. And to be honest, I'm not sure why Mark Hughes didn't bring him on for a tackle like we saw at Carlisle. I thought that's the only reason he gets game time, when he gets brought off for an attacker and kind of fucks up the game, really. But yeah, Matty Platt, definitely a bright spot in the defensive department. Obviously, that was difficult to say when you lost 1-0 to a National League South side, really. No disrespect to Crawley, but the recruitment's been really poor.
There's going to be so many comments about that now.
No, but, Crawley have beaten us at the end of the day, so, you can't really take anything away from them. We're gunning for promotion. Well, that's kind of what the aim is, and they've beaten us, so fair play, It's down to us at the end of the day, and Crawley Town with the better side, so, yeah, can't really, discredit them for that. But, yeah, Matty Platt, obviously, he kind of fizzled out towards the end of the season, and he's come back in this pre-season. He's not really been a standout performer, but like you said at Crawley, definitely, calmed down the defence. Didn't really look like scoring afterwards, to be honest. So yeah, Matty Platt, definitely a bright spark and has to start next game for me.
I think we just looked so much more composed at the back. Even playing that back four when we'd gone down to 10 men, when it was Halliday, Platt, Kelly, I think Rideout, we just looked so much more secure in that than playing the back three with Taylor and Oyegoke, and having one less person in defence but still looking stronger tells you everything you need to know about how poor that first half was defensively. Offensively, we were all right in that first half, but defensively, we were so poor. We are going to end today's video, though, with our final box. This is one that Frank wanted to talk about, so I'll let him lead with this. Stephen Gent, we've gone with a yellow box for him here. Frank, I'll let you take it away with this one.
Yeah, well, I think last summer when he got brought in, he was fairly unknown, but we noticed there was a lot of links with Middlesbrough and etc., etc. Now, last summer he was brought in, and there was a lot of excitement around that. And I think he backed up that excitement. Some fantastic signings that summer, and obviously they ended up being really good. You brought in the likes of Scott Banks and a lot of loanees that I think nearly every loanee worked out: by Dara Costello, Thierry Nevers, and Talaji Bola.
Yeah, nearly everyone then.
No, but Tyreek Wright, Scott Banks, and lots of good permanent signings. Richie Smallwood got brought in as well. So you look at that and you think, fantastic first season he's coming. And then the second season, you'd thought, well, you've been at the club 2 years now. You've got a chance to, build, expand your network out, and you've had time to scout players and assess options. And this summer, I could name one or two that could be like star players for us this season. I think the recruitment has been absolutely abysmal. Now, I don't know who that's down to. Is that down to Rupp not funding? Is that down to how Mark Hughes wanted to play it? But the recruitment has not been good enough. I think that Ash Taylor signing alone, you could get sacked for that one. That's how bad it was. But yeah, just not enough from Steven Gent for me. And I think in a season where if we don't go up this season, I really fear that the only way we're going to get out of League Two is via relegation. I think this season he had to get it right, and I don't think he has got it right now. Granted, there is 25 days, just over 3 weeks left of the window, but why have we left it this late? We're leaving it too little too late. Why must it take a game against Crawley to realise that this squad was not good enough? We're lacking in so many positions. Wingers, we aren't bringing in any wingers by the looks of it. Mark Hughes, he said he didn't want to press the panic button. I think that Crawley game is a key indicator of we need to press the panic button. We need to pull the finger out and just start building a squad that will adapt to formations. Mark Hughes said he likes to build a squad that adapts to formations. There is not a single winger that is fit at the football club at the moment. How can you adapt to a formation without wingers? It does not make sense to me. Clark Edouard seems like he could probably play on the left, but we need out-and-out wingers that can do it and on a consistent basis be brought off the bench and adapt to formations, especially when you've got target man off the bench like Matt Derbyshire and Andy Cook. That's when you need wingers, because Halliday and Rydalge offer no attacking intent. They're both natural flat fullbacks. They are not wing backs. It's just not going to work in attacking style. When they're the only wide players on the pitch, it doesn't make sense. The recruitment's been poor. The tactics been poor. Who do you point the finger at? I don't know. It might be no reaction in the first game, and you can obviously blame the fact that, they've not gelled in yet or they need time. Crawley have had the same amount of time as us. They're nailed on relegation favourites. How on earth are we losing to Crawley, with all due respect, with the team that we've got? And it's just, it didn't show like we were going to be anything special this season. I mean, I'm going on a bit of a rant now, I guess, but yeah, it's not been good enough from the whole backroom staff, really, and the board.
Yeah, I think that there were certainly some positive signs against Crawley. Like going forward, we did create some good chances, and their keeper did have a pretty decent game. But I think because that first half defensively was so poor, and after last season as well, there really is a big hangover from last season where the fans are just not going to put up with it this year. You know, if we're not in that top three, I don't think a large majority of the fans are going to be happy with just scraping into the playoffs like what we did last season. And you look at the recruitment on paper, just the 6 signings so far, but it's not just the signings, it's the contract renewals. Did Rideout deserve a new contract? Did Gilead deserve a new contract? I'm not really so sure. And you look at some of our signings, on paper, Clark Edouard was fairly unproven, had a poor season last year with Hartlepool. Ash Taylor, on paper, was shocking at Walsall and Northampton, but did really well at Kilmarnock. Kevin McDonald's got a good pedigree, but he's not even featured in a single minute for us so far, so we can't really comment on him. Alex Patterson seems to be playing slightly out of position, which isn't really bringing the best out of him, but on paper was a good signing. Tyler Smith, for me, very unproven, and to give him a 3-year contract I thought was interesting from what I've seen of him so far. He looks sharp with his movement, but he just looks a little bit still raw and a little bit like he's going to take a few games to settle into it. And Daniel Ugoke as well, I've mentioned a few times now, he's good going forward, but defensively he just doesn't work. And if you're going to play him, you have to play him over Halliday at wing back if that is the formation that you're going to go with. I can't see why you want to play him in defence when you've got natural centre backs who are much better than him at centre back. But like what I say, there was some positive signs, but because defensively in the first half was so poor, and I think we didn't expect to steamroll them, but we expected to at least score a couple of goals. And Andy Cook was pretty isolated for the majority of it. And I know we're rambling on a little bit now, but just my overall thoughts on the game were there were some positive things to take into Accrington, but I think Mark Hughes has got to stop being a little bit stubborn with his team selection. And we saw how many times last season, so stubborn with it. We can't have that again this season. If someone's not playing well, they have to come out of the team. That's the whole purpose of having such a big squad. And he's just got to get it right this year. This is one of probably his last chance in management. You know, if he doesn't get us promoted this season, he obviously shouldn't get a new contract at the end of it. And then where does he go from there? And then if Mark Hughes doesn't get us up, that'll be, I think, the 4th manager under Ryan Spikes who won't have got us promoted. So then there's got to be serious question marks over him. But for me personally, I don't think anything really changes until Stefan Rupp sells the club and we actually get some investment. And as I've said before, investment doesn't guarantee success on the pitch. You know, you could spend millions of pounds and it doesn't work, like what we saw in 18-19 where we spent a significant amount of money and it doesn't work. But investment certainly helps. You know, just little things like improving the look of the stadium, trying to potentially get our own training ground, because as much as the Woodhouse Grove facilities are not bad, you are still training at a school, and it's not exactly ideal, really. You know, you'd like to be away and have some real private space, to be honest. But there we go. There are thoughts post Crawley. Some things for the comments to discuss through. You know, let us know everything about what you think of what we discussed today. And Clark Adore, Mark Hughes, Ash Taylor, the referee, Matty Platt, and Stephen Gent. Thank you all very much for watching. Apologies about Frank's camera being in 3 pixels. We'll try and get that sorted. So next one of these will be next Sunday, I believe, against with our review and 6 things we learned from Colchester at home. So thank you all very much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you all later.